Good evening, welcome to Tuesday tutorial. Tonight we are looking at side angle pose. I'm pleased to know that this uses pretty much every muscle in the whole body. It's a really good hip opener. The basis is warrior 2, so that means that it's a good hip opener and it's really strengthening the legs as well as stretching through the sides of the body. The foundation for extended side angle is warrior 2. So if you're not sure about the basics of warrior 2, then have a look back at a video from a few weeks ago called Tuesday tutorial warrior 2 and familiarise yourself with that so that you can transition easily into side angle. So from our warrior 2, we're going to transition into our side angle pose by taking our, this is my left leg, so I'm going to take my left forearm down onto my left thigh. Now, you can make side angle quite a chilled out pose with not very much activity going on at all, because you can just sink into the front arm, you can let your top shoulder drop down, and you can be quite relaxed, and your legs are working because they're holding you up, but the rest of you is pretty asleep. We don't want to do that. You want to take the left forearm down onto the left thigh, but it's a really, really gentle touch. So I'm not dumping any weight into it at all. And in fact, if I was there right now and you're doing this along with me, then I should be able to come along and remove and just pull that arm from underneath you, and you wouldn't go anywhere because your core's switched on. So you're pulling your belly in towards your spine. Very gently touching your forearm against your thigh. Really pressing down into the front foot, into the outside edge of the back foot. So just like in warrior 2, imagine that you're trying to tear the mat in half with both feet, and that makes sure that all the legs are switched on. You'll be pleased to know that this pose uses pretty much every muscle in the body. Tailbone is tucked under. Gently resting the front forearm onto the front thigh, and then reach the top arm up towards the ceiling. Now as you do this, you'll notice that my top shoulder is pulling back so that my chest stays open. What we often see in side angle is something along the lines of this. It's nice and chilled out, it's not really doing very much. Just want to keep the chest lifted by pulling this top shoulder back, reaching through the arms. I like to practice with a relaxed neck because I just think that we spend enough time looking at our phones and doing all sorts of things to crank up blood tension. Really reaching through the fingers. A lot of people will teach to gaze up to the top fingers, that's fine. But if you've got a sore neck, if you've got a neck injury, then keep the head relaxed or even gazing downwards. Option 2 for your top arm is to reach it overhead. And this now introduces more of a stretch down the side of the body, the top side of the body. Still keeping that chest pulled back. I'm going to swap sides. If you want even more a challenge, if you really want to challenge your core, then here you can keep the top arm reaching towards the front of the room, pulling the shoulder back, tailbone tucked, and then reach the bottom arm overhead as well. So you've got nothing to dump your weight onto. Not that we should be dumping our weight onto it. This pose helps to set us up for bird of paradise. So for bird of paradise, we take binds with the arms. So you can start to work towards a bind by reaching your top arm behind your back and taking hold of the opposite hip. But you can see that my chest is still lifted, my shoulder is still pulling back. I'm not leaning forwards as I take that bind. It might make it a little bit easier to reach, but that's not the point. If you want to take the full bind, then your bottom arm can come underneath the bottom thigh and reach behind the back. And then maybe your fingers meet. Can you see that my shoulder is still pulling back? And I still have this deep bend in my front knee. So my front knee is kind of over my ankle. It's snuck back a little bit, but not too much. Head and neck relaxed. If the hands don't quite meet, then you can grab a hold of your t-shirt, your clothes. You can hold a strap. It doesn't have to be a fancy yoga strap. It can be a dressing gown belt. And that is your side angle. If you have any questions, any comments, either send me a message or pop them in the comments and I will get back to you and let me know what you would like me to cover next week.